started. Our lesson tonight is kind of lengthy, so there is a chair right up here next to the pastor, or there's a chair right up next to Diana. There's a couple over here. There's one near Sylvia over here. It's a different setup. It looks tight. All right. Tell you a quick story about how we're set up tonight. A little bit different, which is okay. I got a phone call earlier this week, and we got somewhat some troubling news that we had a weekend that was scheduled to go into Granite. It would have been the first time we did a 4-day weekend in Granite, the Oklahoma State Reformatory. It would have been the first time in 10 years that we've been able to do a 4-day weekend in there. And of course, it looks like that weekend is going to get postponed. And so I got a phone call earlier before they actually postponed it, and they were asking, does First Baptist West have a food handler's license? And I actually had to make a couple of phone calls. I didn't think that we did, but I had to make a couple of phone calls. It's not required. We don't have to, and we don't have one. And Granite was saying that if we brought food in, we'd have to have a food handler's license. And so I says, no, we don't have one. And I'm not sure about the other two churches that typically provide a meal. St. John's Missionary Baptist Church, I think they do have it because they're serving to the public the food that they serve. And then, of course, Blessed Sacrament was the other church, and I'm not sure what their status was. But it was kind of a disappointing thing, that for the guy on the other end that was asking the questions, that we wouldn't be able to serve food. And I said, but they're going to let us in, right? Okay? And I know that the first couple of years that we did Lawton, it wasn't a food handler's license that they were concerned about. They just wouldn't let us bring outside food in. The first couple of times they didn't know who we were. They just weren't going to allow us to bring any food in. And so what we had to do is we had to eat the food that the inmates ate. And I did not realize how bad it was. And I can remember one of the meals that we were eating. Give you an example. They will put the salt and pepper shakers in your tray, and then they put the applesauce in on top of the salt and pepper shakers, and that kind of stuff. And this particular meal that we were having, I thought it was really bad, and it's how we've got to watch what we say and watch what we think about what people are dealing with. Because I'm eating this meal and I thought, oh my God, this is horrible. And one of the inmates says, oh, you guys are here. They brought out. So it's perception, what we think and, what other people are dealing with. So I say all of that to say when we walk in here and we see this different setup, we got to do something different. And I ask the question, are we all going to be miserable? Or are we going to figure out how to make this an exciting event today? And that's the God that we serve. He makes things exciting where we kind of want to look at it with the wrong spirit and the wrong attitude. So I took 5 minutes to do that. We're going to dive right into our lesson. We got quite a bit tonight in our lesson, and we are going to have a lot of scripture reading. And I know for the folks that are online, they oftentimes can't hear the people in the audience. So Randy has a microphone here that's like the one that I have that gets recorded, and so hopefully they'll be able to better understand the audience reading scripture verses and any discussion that we might have. Although I'm going to be moving at lightning speed here in just a minute, and not sure how much discussion we'll have other than you guys reading scripture verses. So Our lesson tonight comes out of 2 Timothy, chapter 1. We're looking at verses 8 through 12.